MrBeast said spend a bit of extra time on a better idea. What do most people do when they make a video? I definitely am susceptible to this. They want to launch right into it. They're excited. They record. That's important because that's energy transference. If you have an idea, you should kind of do that. But a lot of people as well, they want to be consistent. People like me put out a video every day, every week, whatever it is. And they just need to get something out. And they just want to get it out. And they could add an extra 5 minutes to the conceptualization and it would really help. But a lot of people don't do that. This was my case because on November 1st, I committed to making videos every day on TikTok. I wanted to put out one video every day on TikTok. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know that when I put out a video on TikTok, it comes out simultaneously on IG Reels, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, comes out everywhere. And I was just getting these videos out. If it was 7 p.m. and it was getting late, I said, I got to get out the video because it's getting late. And I would just put it out. I would just try to think of something really fast and put it out. Here's the thing about short form videos, and I think this is the case with tweets and podcasts and honestly any piece of content. It's always about the idea and the hook, but this is especially true with short form videos. It's always about the idea and the hook being the first 1 to 3 seconds. You want to capture people with short form videos, with videos under a minute on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on IG Reels. And so I've been making videos every day now for a long time. And my videos, they're all around different topics. I'm a huge fan of Founders, the podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts, this guy, David Senra, he's read 400 biographies and autobiographies. And in each episode, he summarizes one of these biographies. He talks about one of these founders. And I said, what if I take what he does and I do it, but under a minute? So I started making TikTok videos about founders in under a minute. It's like, that's my spin on the niche. The niche is you talk about founders, but you do it in under a minute for mobile video, for TikTok, IG Reels, YouTube Shorts, whatever it is. And I started doing this. And my video today, I'm really excited because the video that I put out today is doing really well. I just put it out. It's up to 13,000 views. It's getting about 1.5 thousand views every couple of minutes now. We'll see how far it gets. And I'm excited because so far, this put some time into it is being proved, but I've changed up my entire approach. That's something else that makes me really excited. I've changed up my entire approach. Previously, so first of all, I want to go back. MrBeast said, spend a bit of extra time on a better idea. I always preach that you should be consistent. I always preach that you should be consistent with whatever it is you're doing because that's the only way to get better over time. And you might not immediately know what's going to do well and what's not going to do well. That's very often the case with new creators or startup founders or whatever it is. You don't have that intuition. And the way to develop that intuition is to be prolific. MrBeast, he comes up with really good ideas very consistently now. But he was making videos for years before he started doing well. I've been making videos every day for 8 months. I had some videos do well. Most of my videos were a flop. Some videos would do outstandingly well. In February, I made the most viewed video on the Silicon Valley bank collapse. That was great. I've made many videos that have gotten many millions of views, but I don't have the consistency that I want to have. And by investing in a better idea, especially a serial idea, like MrBeast preaches, like actually his content has become more serialized as well. He went on a recent podcast and talked about this. His yacht video is like, he has like comparing yachts, the most expensive and cheapest yachts, to each other. He does this with airplanes. He does this with hotels. So he's become a bit more serialized as well, and it's really helped him. And I find myself doing that too. And I think it's actually been making things better. But you have to be consistent to even get there, to know what works, to try different things, which is why I'm always like, consistency is everything. Because I wouldn't have come to this if I wasn't making videos every day. I probably just would have stopped. And another reason why this is like such a big shift for me is, previously I was putting out 4 videos a day, and I was spending 2.5 hours making 4 videos. So I would spend a lot less time on a single video, but I would be able to get out more of them. And so I was basically gambling. 4 videos might equal, with this format that I was doing before, 4 videos might equal a few thousand views. It might equal a few thousand views, but it would have a worse chance of getting hundreds of thousands of views to millions of views, even though some of them would. Again, crapshoot. Now, and this approach with the 1-minute bios, this is only 4 days old, I think. But the first video popped off. First video got 400,000 views. Now I spend 2.5 hours, the same amount of time, but it's only to make one single video with this serial idea that I'm doing. But this one video, it has a great chance to get the same minimum views of all 4 videos. So a couple thousand. Great chance of getting that. But it has a much higher chance than the 4 videos to get hundreds of thousands to millions of views. And that's why I'm really excited, because I'm getting better coming up with ideas, because I do this every day. I'm seeing what works and what doesn't. But, and the videos are great, but the videos need to direct me somewhere. I'm building out this crazy funnel. And right now, the end goal is to just grow this podcast. I love this podcast. This is what I think I was meant to do a podcast, especially like a daily podcast. It's so funny because I started the TikToks in the first place because I was going on a lot of podcasts, and a lot of podcast hosts were telling me you need to have your own podcast. But then I made a TikTok instead because I met a guy, and I guess I was more intimidated by starting my own podcast. Yeah, I was, because I didn't know how I would promote the podcast. I didn't know how I would do it. And actually, it's probably a good thing that I went the way that I went, because I use my videos now to promote the podcast. The call to action, the CTA in my TikTok and soon to be in my other social medias, it's going to my podcast page. It's check out my daily podcast, and then you click on a link. And I'm going to make a landing page for this podcast, a really sweet landing page, which I got to carve out time to do because it's so important. And then I'm going to do a whole crazy SEO funnel. I'll talk about that in a second. And then, this is a crazy idea. I had this as I was coming home today. I just spent several hours with a close friend, mentor. We've worked together in the past. His name is Dominic. I talk about him often. We travel through Europe together. So he has an IQ. He doesn't like me sharing this. I don't care. He has an IQ higher than that of Albert Einstein. My friend Dominic, higher than that of Albert Einstein. So I'm coming home from seeing him, and then I had this idea. I'm making these 1-minute bio videos, and some of them are doing really well. And when the video does really well, I should reach out to the person that I'm making the video about, get to know them, become their friend. And then maybe they'll like me enough or feel like reciprocity enough because I made a video about them to promote this podcast. And then I get listeners to the podcast. So I'm doing all these things. I have all these crazy ideas to get listeners to this podcast. And I think I could totally see that working. But at the very least, I'll get on a call with them. Maybe they'll have better insights on how to grow the podcast. Maybe they'll have different ideas. Maybe they'll be able to connect me with X, Y, and Z. I don't know. But this is something that I'm going to do. I need to get the podcast landing page up before I do that. And then I'm going to message the people that I've made these videos about and say, hey, I made this video about you. It did pretty well, or it's doing pretty well. Would love to talk and actually get to know you. That's it. No, I'm not even going to try to sell them anything. And they will be like, what are you working on? That's what passionate people want to know. They want to know what the other person is working on. So they'll say, what are you working on? And I'll be like, well, I have this daily podcast. And then they'll probably listen to it before they promote it. But I think this podcast is great. I have a lot of examples as to why this podcast is great. A lot of people are giving me compliments and sharing the podcast. I don't think people would share something that was garbage, even if like a kind of friend made it. Some close friends, yeah, even if a friend made it, if it was garbage, I don't think they would really share it. So a lot of friends are sharing this or listening to repeat episodes. If a friend of mine sends me something that is garbage and it's 20 minutes long, and it's garbage, I will listen to a minute or two and then stop. And if it's good, then I will listen to the whole thing. And if it's great, I'll listen to another episode. And that's what's happening with these. People are listening to multiple episodes. Here, let me read the comment that a friend left me yesterday. He said, "Yo, dude." This is my friend Lewis. He said, "Yo, dude, episode number 9 was effing fire. Super shareable. I sent it to my chick. Very inspiring. Love the steal like Zuck vibe." Because in that episode number 9, I said, you're more likely to find success if you steal like Mark Zuckerberg rather than try to invent like Steve Jobs. Everybody wants to be Steve Jobs, but being Zuckerberg is like the smarter move because it's just way easier to steal. And that's what Zuck does. He did that with Threads. He did that with Stories. He did that with Reels. Another friend of mine today shared the video that's doing well, the one that I put up today, and then also shared the podcast on her Instagram story. And yeah, like I said, like other people are listening to multiple episodes. So I think this is a good pod. I think it's a great pod. Honestly though, so I'm going to leverage people, the people who I'm making these videos about to get listeners. And I wanted to bring this up again because leverage in marketing is so critical. And a lot of people don't realize it. Like one of the reasons why you should be consistent with something and stay with something is because the longer that you're in a niche for, you get more things to leverage. The longer you're in a niche and vocal for, you get more things to leverage. And it's hard to leverage those things outside of the niche. It's a lot harder. And it's easier to leverage them within the niche. Telling people I made the first video game in crypto. Me and my friends, we invented play to earn. We made the first video game in crypto, invented play to earn. People outside of crypto don't know what that means. They don't know that that's a big deal. Some do. Some people in tech do, but it's not commonly known. But when I tell somebody in crypto that, they get really excited. So it's just easier to leverage something in a niche within the same niche. It's easier to leverage something in a niche within the same niche. And another example is actually to even make that game. I leveraged my keyword knowledge because before being in crypto, I was in search engine optimization and I knew about keywords. So we leveraged my keyword knowledge to rank number 1 on Meetup for biggest blockchain meetup in the world. So we showed up on Meetup as the number 1 blockchain meetup in the world, the largest one. Now we're number 3. I would email people and say, hey, I have the biggest blockchain meetup in the world. I'd love to talk. And I did this with a big YouTube crypto influencer. Right before we launched this game, asked to talk to them, shared the game with them. They got really excited. And then they promoted the game because they thought it was a cool idea. And they promoted it for free because we had the biggest blockchain meetup in the world and it was a cool idea. And that made us $500,000 in our first 2 days of launching. And that was just leverage. It was leveraging one thing into another thing into another thing. It's all leverage. It's just marketing is all leverage. So I'm going to be leveraging these TikToks now, these serial TikToks about these founders to talk to the big deal founders. And that could create great relationships. I could learn a lot. It could benefit the podcast. So I'm hyped. I'm so hyped. I am so hyped. I'm so hyped. Yeah. Also, another thing is recommendations. I have all these notes. Like I said, like preparation is so important. I prepare now for my videos a lot more than I used to, and the videos are doing better. So I prepare for these podcasts, and I have these notes in front of me. Something else is that recommendations, they compound. A lot of people, they won't do something if you tell them to do it the first time. But if they hear it from another person, oh, I've heard this from 2 people now, I should check it out. Maybe it'll take them 3. Either way, that's more reason why you should stay consistent in a niche. Why I'm just like, I said this on another episode, like, I don't know, I consider calling this like the consistency podcast, because that's like my whole, like, I'm consistent day after day. It's important. It makes a huge difference. If you are consistent for years, to me, there's no way that you won't be successful. To me, there's no way. It's like the biggest guarantee. I know so many people where their idea didn't pop off originally, but they didn't give up, and now they're millionaires or decamillionaires or more. Like, that's just the biggest thing. And I think a lot of successful people will agree with that. A lot of successful people will agree with that. You read that in a lot of books. You hear that in a lot of podcasts about businesses and success. So it's something that I feel very passionate about. And in marketing too, it just makes a lot of sense. If you understand marketing, if you just understand human nature, it makes a ton of sense. So I'm really excited. I'm excited about these videos. I'm excited to use them to benefit the podcast. I'm excited about this podcast and to have it be great. I want to inspire people. One of my mentors, this guy, Yuri Chernin from darngoodads.com. I'm totally going to give him a shout because he is a big mentor of mine. He gives me a lot of great advice. He said his biggest epiphany, I want to get him on the podcast to talk about this, because he said his biggest recent epiphany is that, like, marketing funnels are cool, but a good product is the most important thing. And I agree with that. And I'm trying to make this product great. I'm trying to make this podcast. The podcast is the product. I'm trying to make it great. And then creating a good organic marketing funnel that's throwing fuel on the fire. Everything's going to build into each other with the product and with the marketing funnel that I'm building. I can't wait to build it. I'm on day like 22 or 23 of a 30-day challenge where I just go out every day and meet people at tech events or anywhere, or have coffee with people, invest in new relationships, as in, like, not try to create a bunch of shallow relationships, but try to create a couple of really deep relationships, and having coffee with people who I meet. I'll be doing that tomorrow with an engineer from Microsoft. I met him at an event. We're going to have coffee tomorrow. And on Monday, I'm going to have coffee with a guy who was an engineer at Meta, and now he has a funded crypto startup. I'm just going to hang out with him. And we'll probably hang out again, both of these people, because I think investing in relationships is very important. But so I'm on this 30-day challenge. Where I meet people every day, and it will end in a week or 8 days. And then I think I will take like a week or maybe even 2 weeks and just like lock myself up and build this funnel, because it's an evergreen funnel, which means it can keep generating listeners, and it uses search engine optimization. I identified keywords that people aren't trying to rank for that would benefit me a lot, like motivational business podcasts or best entrepreneur podcast, singular. That's another one. So there's a few of these, and I know how to rank for these keywords, and I'm going to do that. And then people are going to Google these things. SEO, I don't think is going to die anytime soon. I think ChatGPT and GPT-4 has gotten worse. I've seen that happen. Also, I checked, like I said on a different episode, my search traffic for my companies has not decreased since the release of ChatGPT, which is crazy. So I'm not sure that the 10 blue links will be killed anytime soon. So I will make a few more SEO pages. I will not make top of funnel SEO pages, which I talked about as well. That's silly, but these are bottom of funnel pages. These are people who, they know what they want. They want a motivational business podcast. They don't know where to get it, and they're going to get it from me, and I'm going to do that. A lot of people are going to get it from me. I hope so. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, this is episode number 23 of The Edward Show. This is my daily podcast, which I put so much love into. And if you're still with me, I hope you are. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you listening, because I have a lot of fun with this, and I like to have listeners. So thank you so much for listening. Episode number 23. Guess when I'm going to talk to you? Guess when I am going to talk to you. I'm going to tell you. I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care now. Bye.